Abusia, one video na eda screen so no. I'm Mr. Henry Asante Chum, Ghana Football Association Communications Director. Mr. Henry Asante Chum. Ono ena eda screen so no. Na ene obomodi ewremu e was Sporty FM ekodi enkomo. Na nenkomo a wo ba betie no eye enkomo a efa Otto Addo ho. The reason tia Ghana Football Association led by Mr. Ket ES Okreku, ESCO members ni nyina no executive council ni nyina no omu decide say omu be keep Otto Addo na wabo World Cup qualifiers no. The reason no waba be chechem na or the government position say Honourable Kofi Adams enche na or started vetting. After the vetting no or no so position on Otto Addo what as a government and ebe sake Otto Addo and as on sake no wedding komo e dia fa ho. Ghana young qualify for AFCON wedi enkomo e dia fa ho. Collectively adia Ghana Football Association ehwe se omobeye e de Ghana ewramu e World Cup no wedi enkomo e dia fa ho. Me say we exclusive interview and e ba so now without wasting much time no message ni no boko aso en sem we was video we mu no e kate across ebia wunya efe no anase wunya Mr. Henry Asante Chuma questions aka obebisa no ni nyina e was video we mu tie ba behwe eni di no boko aso share link no na obi enya bintie ka ho asem echi obi the sports link Ghana ho dance echi obi na twe obi ba abusuani mu na bibi anya dai enya kama message sports link extra so ho no uremu a foreign sports any analysis ahodo ni nyina no yedigu ho edemount kin eben sem ni nyina no yedigu ho edemount. So without wasting much time abusuani yenwemu na yenkotie this exclusive interview ewo GFA ene Mr. Henry Asante Chum akache na yenwemu na yenkotie Mr. Henry Asante Chum ene sportifo yenkoi.
The position of the head coach Otto Addo, some say look, he did not win a game in the qualifying series. 6 games winless. We lost our unbeaten run at home in Kumasi to Angola. We lost at home to Niger. Some say, or a lot of people say, and I believe in that he should still not have a job as the national team head coach. One, as the FA, is he staying? Has that been confirmed? And two, why is he staying? Just looking at his body of work in the qualifiers, he didn't win any game. The results were not good. So why is Otto Addo being given an opportunity to extend his stay as Black Stars head coach?
I think the new chairman of the management committee has already mentioned the fact that he will stay, and that's a decision that the executive council has taken. I am not part of the council. I only speak the position of the council.
So that's the GFA stance that yes. Otto Addo is staying.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, why?
Based on his report and some analysis that they made of the report, including challenges in the course of the qualifiers, and this cuts across different factors, and when he submitted his report, he made mention of a number of factors, varied factors, injuries, pre-game conditions, match fitness, even his own decisions. Sometimes some of these things played a major role in arriving at the results. But unfortunately, yes, I agree. Football is about results, or every sporting discipline is about results. I mean, you can put up the best team in place, the best structures, make the best decisions. In the end, if you lose, you've lost, and nobody will compensate you for losing a football match. So I understand. I perfectly agree with the position of Ghanaians. Okay. On my way here, I was listening to the show, and Raymond kept mentioning, why is Otto Addo still there? Why is Otto Addo still there? But yes, sometimes you ask questions based on results. One can easily conclude that he shouldn't be there because it's been the situation over a period of time. But before his appointment, I think just after the council decided to give him the job, there was an announcement that in the course of this journey there will be disappointments, there will be failures, there will be mixed results and what have you, but at the end of the day they are willing and ready to stay with the plan and move with him a long haul, which is why they offered him a semi-long term contract. So the council believes that it's about time they give him the necessary support in the World Cup qualifiers. Also look at the possibility of strengthening the backroom staff, helping him to reshuffle things a bit, and that is the position of the executive council. It's not only about results, but it's about the reasons he gave, the potential he has, the fact that it is possible that they can turn things around by beefing up the technical team, and all these factors were considered in arriving at that particular decision.
Ebusia, eti Mr. Henry Asante Chum and Ayeti no. Based on Nesama Oka, not just say earlier on no, Ghana Football Association before hiring him no, or catch a Ghana for you and say, yeah, hi no, ebedru baby no, ebedru time what you say. Obstacles how do beba, there will be failures, there will be disappointment. And based on net no, say no, your time wa failure naba, your time wa disappointment no aba, and you know Ghanaians needs to accept that. Pe asema Henry Asante Chum kanono abusia yanto aso na wo de yentie ensem no enchiremu.
Raymond, so sorry, quick one. So that technical team that worked with Otto,
yes,
who constituted the technical team, especially his assistant coaches?
He did.
Otto
Thank
did.
you.
Yes.
So
They were his choices.
Yes.
okay. Both were his choices.
He had first choice, second choice, third choice. It depends on the negotiation. If the first choice doesn't accept the offer, you move to the next choice until you get, a backroom staff. So I can confidently say that yes, he made those choices.
Right, abusia yampo so hadom na yeni nkomo. Utie asema Mr. Henry Asante Chum kana. Joseph Lawman and John Pencil, they were the choices of Otto Addo. Then you go write a report. Na say the kwakwoshem say, "O pese yesesa o technical staff, yesesa omo amount." Eti Otto Addo no, as odi nipa adwene edi agro. And I don't see the reason here. If they don't want to sack this man. Even the contract cramp no, omo pese ombe reveal and say ombe ma the contract no, aye known to Ghanaians. So something smells fishy there. Jena ekoso, one kasa wa make you choice. Later on, was asiense sa omo ma. Meanwhile no, na kasa upewe. Though maybe o first choice or second choice on sanka, and the one kasa oko appointee Joseph Lawman and John Pencil. It's a whole kasa yen sanko fan yen saki o money ko different person ma. Are you not joking with us? Abusia yen to us ni.
So in that report you presented to the FA, what were some of the specifics that led to us failing to qualify for the tournament? A few specifics in terms of even the footballing aspect. Players on the pitch.
I've spoken about. Okay, so in every game had its own approach. The approach for the first game against Angola is oddly or totally different from the approach in the second game against Niger in Morocco. Same for the third game against Sudan in Accra, Sudan in Libya, Benoni, and then Angola in Luanda and Niger in Accra. So depending on the strength, when you are going into games, you look at the strength of your opponent and you strategize for it, and that even informs your decision when it comes to player call-ups. So you decide on maybe the opponents play a lot of long balls and they are dangerous when it comes to set pieces, free kicks, corner kicks, a dead ball situation. So that informs your decision regarding the choices you make in certain defensive areas, like central defense, the height you rely upon, and even central midfield, who you call up and what have you. And during this period, let's not mince words, it got to a point where we had injuries. Fact. But did that apply to Ghana only?
No.
The answer is no. So it means that once it did not apply to Ghana and others also found themselves in similar situations and still got the results they wanted, it means you could have still, managed the situation to get favorable results to be able to qualify. So some of the specifics, yes. Tactics, yes. Injuries, yes. The fact that sometimes we should have taken those crucial moments. You spoke about moments early on, and those are very critical in winning games. once the moments come and you do not take advantage of those moments, it can go against you. So those are some of the specifics that he touched on, and obviously issues about late arrivals because players play games Saturday, Sunday, and they come Monday and they are playing on Wednesday, so not enough time to plan, not enough time to train, not having enough time to work on tactics and all those things came up in his report.
In that document, and based on some of the things you've said, how did Otto manage to convince the FA that indeed he has what it takes to turn this around? Because what you just spoke about, player collapse, late arrivals, it's not going to change.
Yeah.
You are still going to get players coming in late. You are still not going to get because of club commitment. You are still not going to get your players 100% fit at times. Exactly. Players could still get injured at their club side and all.
Sure.
All that may not change. How did Otto still manage to get the FA to believe that indeed he's the man for the job? Because 6 games without a win, clearly there should be question marks about the style of play, how the players execute what you teach them on the field of play and all. How did the FA get convinced?
It's not about how did the FA get convinced. It's about the analysis post presentation of reports. I don't think that all the 12 members on the council said yes at the go. I mean, people ask questions. I cannot paint the exact picture on this platform, but it wasn't a friendly atmosphere. It was a very tensed atmosphere where members of the council espoused their feelings and their positions on the future of the technical team. Not all of them said yes. It was very, very difficult. I sat there for hours, and still we got to a point where there was still meat, so the meeting had to be adjourned and for them to reconvene again. So it was not just a straightforward decision that after hearing from him or listening to him, we want to say yes, or we are all saying yes to his continued stay in office or otherwise. It was very, very tough, which is why, unfortunately, the end product is what people make analysis with, and the end product is that he will stay, based on the council's decision. But the factors that went into arriving at that decision was tough, very, very, very tough. So even meeting drags for 5-6 hours just to make a firm conclusion on something. Then it tells you that it wasn't easy.
So are there any Otto stay, does it hang on certain things?
Yes.
I.e. their World Cup qualifiers. Is there a point, or has he been told that do A, B, C, X, Y, Z, or else you are out of a job? Or he will be giving a carte blanche, a free hand to see through the World Cup process? Or will the FA, for example, you said something quite instructive, that you personally, you noticed that once we couldn't get that first game in the bag in the AFCON qualifiers, you could almost tell that the journey was going to be
based on experience.
Based on experience, of course, and we all see certain things. And the people you work with, the people at the FA, are people of experience. They've all seen football before. So you can almost use your instinct to almost guess. Is there a certain understanding that at a point when we kind of see that the World Cup qualifiers are not going according to plan, will something be done to Otto's appointment?
I wish it was that easy. And sometimes the coaches also say that factors affect performance, and we are very much aware. We have a role to play. Luckily enough, there is a new management committee in place led by an experienced man in Dr. Ransford Abbey. They've also decided to bring on board a former captain of the team, an individual who single-handedly took us to our first World Cup in 2006. They've had their first meeting. I am privy to the details of the meeting. I know a lot of things will change going forward. I know they will be very much demanding. They will push for results. The other members of the committee Richard Insenche, the owner of Samatex, Moses Ama, the owner of Mediama, Samuel Abuabri, who also comes across as someone with lots of experience. And these people have made it clear that they will push for results. I think that one of the things we also need to be cognizant of is the fact that sometimes when results are not coming and there is doubts and there is that belief, definitely it affects output. So we believe that we have to start on a clean slate, and that clean slate begins in March. In March we've got 2 World Cup qualifiers, and then later in September there are another World Cup qualifiers, and then November we have 2 other games as well. We've got 6 more games to play. Those 6 games, we play Mali, we play Chad, we play Comoros here, and then we travel to Madagascar, Central African Republic, and Chad, away from home as well. But I think the most important thing at this point is to be able to get back the winning mentality, and then also try as much as possible to win the hearts and minds of the people. And the only way to do that is to win games on the pitch.
What was in Raymond, just this one before you come in, what was in Otto Addo's contract, if you can tell us, in terms of the KPIs, the indicators when he got the job? I ask because, and I go back to that, and you've also spoken about it. I guess the 2 biggest tasks he was given was get us to an AFCON, get us to a World Cup.
It's always the case. I mean, once you are a competitive team, you want to be at major competitions.
So he's failed to do one thing, get us to an AFCON. There's a World Cup that's coming. I just want to ask, because I don't know how not getting us to an AFCON has not resulted in his exit. You've talked about change. The backroom, so the backroom staff will be changed, that we know. I want to know what was in the contract. Did it say get us to an AFCON is one thing, get us to a World Cup another thing, or get us to an AFCON and a World Cup, failure in one gets you out, or is it failure of the 2 that gets him out?
Ebusuya ye toaso ye bonkomo na wo de hwe Otto Addo contract won sensem no hwe ekwan a Henry Asante Twum ebefa so ansa. I don't know the reason tia Otto Addo contract no omuntimi nka ho asem enkyere wiase wo de tie ansa na wo de beba no.
Well, do I have the permission of his legal team to disclose certain
that's fair. If
certain details, but the truth is that,
no, not to cut you. To be fair, when a coach is being paid by the taxpayer, some of these details are not secret anymore.
No, but they are
not tied to legal matters anymore.
I have mentioned that a nation as big as Ghana, and with our pedigree, your number 1 priority is to compete at the highest level. And for the senior national team, the 2 most important competitions recognized are the Africa Cup of Nations and the World Cup. So that cannot be, it is not possible to hire a coach without making those 2 tournaments a priority. But there have been situations where coaches, even yesterday, we were talking about, myself and the General Secretary were talking about one of the coaches we recently sacked who has taken us to FIFA. He was sacked based on just cause, but he has taken the FA to FIFA. Milo was sacked after our disappointing campaign in Cameroon.
Yes.
And then he went to FIFA, and he had the case in his favor, had the FA and government paying more than $200,000 or so, in compensation. So you always have to look at it in different forms and shape, which is why, if you remember, at some point we mentioned that we needed to consult, because it doesn't only become the responsibility of the FA in taking that decision. You can make a decision today and then go to the payer or the indirect employer. In our case, the indirect employer is the government, for that matter, through the Ministry of Sports. So yes, I understand the magnitude of the issue. I know that a lot of this is also coming from or stems from the fact that if you didn't qualify for the AFCON against teams like Sudan, Niger, and Angola, then what is the probability that you make it to the World Cup against teams like Mali, Central Africa,
Comoros.
Madagascar, Comoros, and Chad, which looks a bit difficult compared to our opponents, with no disrespect to the other teams in the AFCON qualifiers. But all these concerns are genuine. You know, if I were in your position, maybe I would have done worse. I would have said worse things concerning this particular situation. But I have always said that the most important thing at this point is for us to be calm, which is why I have said at this point you need calm nerves. The decision you make today can come back to haunt you either positively or negatively tomorrow. Emotions don't come in at all. You have to be calm and make the right decisions that will inure to the benefit of all of us. At this point, the council's decision is that the man stays on and have his backroom staff reshuffled.
So, two questions
Honourable
before we go. It's the council's decision that Otto stays on. What is the tax, the indirect employer? What is his decision in all of this?
At this point, I don't know. Because we do not have a sector minister. He will be vetted tomorrow. So maybe post tomorrow after our engagement.
So when the engagement was going on, at the time there were calls for Otto to go. The previous government was in power. So obviously, I'm sure conversations went on that side, even before they lost the election. What was their position?
Well, you know, it's not fair. You know, it's not fair to talk about.
Because you mentioned compensation.
I get it. I get it. But at the end of the day, even if they agreed that the man is fired, they will not be the government to pay whatever compensation today. So I think it will be unprofessional to talk about the decision or the position of the SWAL government when a new government is in place. So I beg this one.
So your decision now, based on your decision now, you have to wait for the new government and the new sports minister to give his blessings, right?
The council has taken a decision. Yes, I'm sure when the new minister is vetted tomorrow and is finally sworn in, there will be a brief, and he will be giving a detailed report or analysis of the situation, and he has also the power to make a decision whether to intervene positively or negatively depending on the situation. If there is enough time for him to intervene negatively and say, no, I don't need him, I am bringing a new man. We are representatives of the public, and we go by the decision of the public. So regardless of your earlier decision, my position as minister is this, that. You do not have much to say, you know, because if that is the decision of the opposition of the government, what can you do?
I see.
Yeah.
So is Otto getting 2 new assistant coaches?
2 new assistant coaches.
You mentioned his backroom getting reshuffled. Does that reshuffle include changing his immediate assistants? Will that reshuffle affect them? Are they staying or going? Let's put it in very simple terms.
I know there will be changes across board. We are not only looking at assistant coaches. The assistant coaches come in different forms and shape. At the moment, we've got 2 video analysts who work with the team. We've got a goalkeepers coach. We've got the sports nutrition. I've forgotten the name of the office, but there are people who work in different designations or portfolios who are all assistant coaches. But on a match day, or the main assistant coaches you see is assistant coach 1, assistant coach 2. But there are a lot of people who play different roles who are all classified as assistant coaches. So there will be, from what I know, they have started discussions, they have started contacting some people, and I am sure once they firm it up, we will make an announcement in that regard.
You mentioned the sector minister. Honourable Kofi Adams has been nominated by the president. He goes through vetting. Barring any unforeseen circumstance, he should be sworn in a little later. He will be somebody you'll be working with. What kind of relationship would you want to have with him? 1, 2. Have you had any informal chats with him? What have you? If yes,
are you referring?
The FA speaking unofficially with him. What are your expectations of him, and what should he expect of you as an FA?
We've been dealing with the ministry, because at this point the ministry is important than an individual. So yes, there have been certain discussions between the office of the incoming minister and the FA. Obviously, we know that President Mahama has decided to rename the ministry. Instead of youth and sports, is now recreation and sports. He understands, or he knows why, he is taking that direction. I have known, like I said, I've known Honourable Kofi Adams for about 12 years or if not more. Yes. Very calm, very level-headed, very firm, very effective. I remember some time ago I was doing something for the office of the former president, His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings. He was then working with him as an aide, and the kind of effectiveness with which he carried out his duties was absolutely awesome. So he is someone I know has, the trust of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to man that ministry. We just expect that he will come in, do his job diligently. We believe that there are a lot of challenges in our industry, not only about the senior national team, but we have to be honest and put it as it is, that there are lots of challenges in our industry, from juvenile football to women's football to coaching education, even our domestic league competition, player recruitment, marketing of the game, infrastructure deficit, putting the game on TV, making it accessible to the public for them to enjoy the product. There are lots of challenges, loads. And it doesn't take one individual to solve those challenges. It takes the collective effort of you and me. I said you as in the media, myself, still a journalist. We cannot do it without the support of the public, the support of a major stakeholder like the media, corporate Ghana, and what have you. But it takes one person to drive that vision. And that vision is going to be driven by the incoming minister. We hope that he goes through the vetting process tomorrow successfully, and once that is done, we will meet him. We will hand over our plan and our proposals to him. And already what has been done in the last 5 years, we'll also give him a brief in that direction, and hopefully he is able to succeed in that ministry.
What should he expect from the Ghana Football Association?
A cordial relationship, but we are not an association that frowns on being corrected or going through the right processes or procedure if things are not looking good. I listen to people every time. I read. I listen to Raymond. Everyone I have the time, I listen to this platform since you started, and I ask myself, are those things right or wrong? Is he right in his assessment, in his analysis? If he is right, what can I pick out of the things he's saying to be able to do things right, or to do things the right way? And so I do not think that the position you hold and the position he holds, or the position or any other person holds, is an agenda to make people look bad, but it is for our own good. I have been to 4 World Cup tournaments. The first time I was at a World Cup was in 2006. But Nathan, the possibility of me not being to Germany would have been high if Ghana had not qualified for the tournament.
Okay.
So Ghana made it to the tournament. We all said, oh, hallelujah, we went there. 2010, oh, hallelujah, South Africa, we enjoyed it. We almost made history in 2010, but for that penalty. So we are partners in development, and I do not expect you to be quiet when things are not good. You are expected to speak up. So and that is the only way we can all develop. That is the only way we can all grow. So the FA is not against objective and constructive criticism. So we will work in the best way as possible and give the minister the best support he deserves, or we can. And at the end of the day, it is Ghana Sports that wins. If all things go well, if we are able to make it to the next World Cup in USA, Mexico, and Canada, hallelujah, we will all be happy.
Henry, let's get the conversation off the ground. For a lot of people, last night's AFCON draw was I guess a painful reminder that we did not get on the plane or boat to Morocco. And so people are wondering, where do we go from here? How is maybe I can ask you on the FA, but how does it feel to look at the draw and not see Ghana there? How does the FA feel about Ghana's inability to make the boat to the AFCON later this year?
My first AFCON as a journalist was in Mali 2002. And from that time, the only time we've missed out was
2 years after.
2 years after, yes. But since 2004, we've been ever present, and so to miss out this time is a mixed feeling, not a good feeling, especially when you have the likes of Botswana, Mozambique, and Co. all present at the tournament. Like you did indicate, yes, when the roll call was mentioned yesterday and Ghana wasn't part, it felt very, very unbearable and very painful. Both at personal level and then also, at the national level, because of our pedigree, because of our stature on the continent, and because of our history, in the Africa Cup of Nations. At least, if for nothing at all, we have been dominant since 2008. Finished third, 2010 second, 2012 fourth, 13 fourth, 15 second, yes. 17 fourth, 19 second round, and then 2021 group stage, 2023 24 group stage. So we've been there, in terms of being counted among the big boys, and it is rather unfortunate that this time we couldn't make it. When the qualifiers started after our first game against Angola, following the loss, I remember talking to the president of the FA and a few other guys, including the head coach, and I had a feeling that we will struggle, after the loss to Angola. The reason is simple. The reason is that in qualifiers on the African continent, you have to take advantage of your home games, and we were on a very patchy run where it was quite difficult for us to win away from home. And even in the previous qualifiers, we took advantage of our home games and made it to the competition. After we drew with Angola away, drew with Madagascar away, we won all our home matches. So every team that is unable to gather points at home, and it is a journey to a major competition, then you are in trouble. So we lost to Angola. We drew with Sudan.
Yes.
And it became extra difficult after the draw with Sudan, because then you need to go away and pick points, and the immediate game after the draw against Sudan was against Sudan, and then we lost. And coming back home,
I think we played with Angola, then drew with Niger, then drew with Sudan, and then we played Sudan,
lost
again
to Sudan, then went to Angola to draw and came back to lose to Niger. And for every sportsman, for every football team, as soon as results are not forthcoming, you begin to have doubts. You begin to question yourself. It plays on your mind. Psychologically, you have a few other, jitters. And I think at some point, those things set in. And we lost the chance of making it to Morocco 2025. I think we need to pick useful lessons. The coach has said it. The president has said it. We can only build on this disappointment and go into the next phase of our qualifiers in the World Cup qualifiers, and then build on that as well. Hopefully, make it to the 2026 World Cup, and then turn things around for the next edition of the AFCON.
All right, Ebusia. Enkomo no ede, enkomo no mu ehwem. Na World Cup no mo didi agro sa no. World Cup no mo di agrosa no. Tie nsem a woka Otto Addo de enemahu na waye nyina no. He was able to convince the executive council. Almost atena say oh yeah before say high no kra no you catch him say there will be bad days, there will be good days. Enti say bad days na be say eternity na odieko World Cup bro. Now our only hope and they say His Excellency the new minister wa appointing no Honourable Kofi Adams after say ebe so ni in no na obe kick starting adwuma no what the changes ebeba. That's our only hope. Anya sa dia busia ebe ha na already me medical catch him say according to me sources I magada no say Otto Addo no omama no I think almost per report no almost 2 matches of the World Cup qualifiers obo afi o decide in the future according to report na megada no ti abusuan nsem no na onya bia wutie no kire wadwene all the nsem bia wa kate across what they afa ni nyina no menim say watie bi kire wadwene comment section what for me. Do you still think Otto Addo ye maintain no and I say yes no based on Henry Asante Twum say ma all canon also opposition and say my mentor all comment section or meeting at the Kobe and I'll be to my friend Kobe finest is Abishia.